Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be talking about secure login sites using Selenium and switching between iframes with regard to a web scraping site that has a pop-up. It's called GDPR in Europe, and it's the pop-up which you get asking if you consent to all of the privacy stuff for visiting a website. So if that's of interest, we'll get to that shortly, but I thought I'd just do a bit of introduction. You might have noticed that I've changed the name of the channel to Python 360. I thought Dr. Pi was not really very indicative of what the channel's about anymore. Originally Pi was in conjunction with Raspberry Pi, which I still use, but Dr. Pi, if you search for it, it actually comes up with something called Dr. Pimple Popper. So yeah, enough said. Just like to congratulate Code Monkey King, who doesn't even make any web scraping videos anymore, but yeah, kudos to him. He's just reached 2,000 views. He's not really made any videos recently, so well done. And I'd like to thank him for passing me a couple of clients of his. And one of them wanted it was a recruitment website which the client has access to. They pay for access to it. However, to get any data from it, they need to manually click through so many buttons, and then they can click on one candidate, get one CV, look up their details, presumably write it down on a notepad. That's one, and they've got, I think it's 600 candidates, and they wanted to extract the candidate email, phone number, and name, and I see no problem with that. They're paying for the service. Already they're restricted to accessing the site via a static IP address via a VPN, so they've got to pay for a VPN service. They've got to pay for a static address or a dedicated IP for that VPN service, and even then they can only get one CV, and it seems like they are paying a lot of money for a service which is still very time consuming, should we say. So I'm more than happy to automate that for them, which brings me on to secure login sites. So it's not something which I do regularly, but on this occasion I took it on, and the thing that we're going to look at mainly here is cookies and cookies accept. So what's all that about? Well, I think the best thing to do is look at some of these. So I mean, there's so many of these, and they're all slightly different. But having looked on Stack Overflow, there are some questions about people trying to accept or get past, they're calling them pop-ups and alert conditions or alerts. There's a difference. These that you more commonly get now, they're not dialog boxes, they're actually iframes, or the one that I've been working on is an iframe. So try and get past that. You don't use any of the Selenium alerts. Get what it's called here. Is it Selenium alert? Yeah, there we go. So people have been doing Selenium, click OK button inside an alert, but it's not an alert. So alert equals a driver switch to alert, pop-up dialogues. So yeah, don't get confused with pop-up dialogues. They're not pop-up dialogues. They are iframes, and that's an iframe, that one, so on. You can check if you, let's go and look at one. So that's only going to be an image. There was what well, again, even to click on that, you've got a cross there. If I go inspect, yeah, there you go. What you need to do, copy XPath. There you go. So there you can see you've got the ID equals jet. That's called a pop-up, but really it's within an iframe. And yeah, let's have a look at how you actually handle this in some code. So let's go over to VS Code, and here's one I made earlier. And what you need to do is treat it as an iframe. Well, if you have an iframe. On the code I was doing, the iframe actually had just empty quotes for the title, but I could still use that because that did uniquely identify the iframe. It works. This code works, by the way. I can't really show you it in action because of privacy of the client, but driver switch to iframe. So you see I've put the red dots there, these breakpoints, but they're to really highlight the bits that you need. Iframe, so you're creating a variable which is the iframe. Then you do driver.switch to dot, and it's deprecated now. There's an older legacy version where there's an underscore. So if you use the older version, you'll get a warning message. Driver switch to iframe. So that takes you to what what may loosely be called the pop-up. It is the iframe pop-up. And what I then do is I just do send keys on the enter button, because that's just, I think the default button is click OK. What it's also doing is it's also asking me a little questionnaire as well with some radio buttons. And I'm just picking out the radio buttons and clicking whichever answer is, whichever answer gets me out of it quickest. Then I'm also doing, what am I doing at the end? Oh yeah, then it's asking me to actually type in something into an input box, and I really don't want to be doing that either. So I just click that, and that's effectively clicking on a close button, much like we just looked at here. Dot click, and then I just proceed to the next page. This is the other important bit. Driver.switch to default. There is another one called switch to parent. I've not tested that, but I can tell you firsthand this works. So create an iframe as a variable, but identify it by its XPath. XPath is much more, you can actually make it a lot shorter than some convoluted CSS. Switch to the, so you make the iframe, you switch to the iframe, you do all the bits that you want to do inside the iframe. Now, why do you need to do all this? Because this doesn't show up in the DOM. So if you do view page source on a page that's got a pop-up, you'll get an error message when you run your Selenium spider, and it will say, it will tell you that it's actually can't find the element, and it's going to try and send the command to the wrong element, or it can't find the element, and it would be sending it to unknown selector. It can't find the selector because it's not looking in the right frame, whether it's in the main page or in the iframe. So if you're on the main page, then it won't see any selectors within the iframe, and vice versa. So that's that. That's I'm going to, I'll just pause that. You can really, it's 3 lines. The other bits are kind of just unique to what I've done, but iframe equals driver.switch to iframe, driver.switch to default underscore content at the end. So you might see some examples. The problem with Selenium is oftentimes you will find results on Stack Overflow or elsewhere that won't actually be for Python, because Selenium is not specific to Python, and often you will find other results, and syntax can be different, and you'll copy and paste some code without knowing that it's written for Java or something, and then you'll get an error. So the only other thing I wanted to show you here was, or even to attempt, anybody fancy seeing a VPN comparison? I happen to have two different VPN suppliers at present, and yeah, let's what should we? Let's connect to. Let's try Germany. So I'm going to connect to Germany using NordVPN. So NordVPN is the first test, and this is not a good start. Oh, here we go. Connected to Germany 965. Right, how are we going to test this? I think we need to do a big download. Right. Let's download Linux. Right, so the first thing to do is, what is my IP? And we can just check, and we will hopefully see that we're connected via Germany. And oh wow, here we go, accept all the cookies. Yeah, so we're connected via Germany. Okay, right, let's go back and download Linux Mint VM. And if we go to OS boxes, and let's download, this will do the first one. No, right, so if we're ready, let's start the stopwatch. So we've got stopwatch in Windows. Surely have. Timer, clock, stopwatch. Right, start, download, accept, and is anything happening? Yes, it is. So 7-8 minutes left. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and that is it. 6 minutes and 4 seconds with NordVPN. So 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Let's does it let me copy that? Let's change to Germany. Frankfurt. You may have noticed that NordVPN has more than one server in some countries, whereas in general, PrivateVPN has one server per country. Right, just move that down there. Let's see if we can beat. So what did I do last time? I think I included the time to make it fair. Let's go right from here again. So start the stopwatch, download, and then your download will start shortly. 5-second countdown. and waiting for downloads. We are downloading now, so we're about 10 seconds in, but we're doing a like-for-like comparison, so that's what I did on the Nord VPN test. So place bets now. Suggested. So quite a big difference. I know this is based on one server in Germany, but it's probably indicative of relative performance. And nearly there. 10 seconds to go. Three, two, one. Done. 9:25. So there we go. Let's just make a note of that. $95 private VPN. Okay, so now we know the performances. Let's just have a look at the relative prices. Private VPN, plans, pricing, and support. I do have the cheapest version. I do believe I've bought it for €49 every 12 months. €49 billed every 12 months after 24 months. Let's call it for, all right, let's just put that into Notepad. There we go, and let's just get the price for Nord. So Nord VPN price, and I'm expecting this to be a bit dearer, so wow, nearly £5 per month. It still thinks we're in Germany. Price. So 119 for a year. You pay twice as much and you get approximately 50% higher speed, better speed. So choice is yours really, isn't it? Do you want the faster speed or would you like the cheaper bill? So there we go. That's a little roundup of VPN speeds, just comparing two different VPNs, and that is doing it on the same day within 20 minutes of each other, to the same download using the same geographic location on the same computer. So hope that's been of interest, and yeah, be back soon with some more stuff.